Hey guys, for Bible, we are done with the book of Esther, now moving into talking about Ezra. This week is Ezra returns to Judah. It's found in Ezra 7, and it occurred around 458 BC. In Schoology, you do have a picture of the card, so you can use that to follow along and use it to answer the questions on your worksheet. So let's go ahead and learn about Ezra. Now that the rebuilding of Jerusalem was underway, Ezra the scribe planned to return to Israel. So remember, King Cyrus had allowed people to start returning to Jerusalem and begin rebuilding the temple, rebuilding the city. And now Ezra wanted to return as well. Ezra was a great leader who is described as one who had devoted himself to the study and observance of the law of the Lord and to teaching its decrees and laws in Israel. He wanted to be obedient, and he was a great leader that wanted to lead the people in obedience as well. Ezra was charged by King Artaxerxes to teach the law of God and to appoint magistrates and judges who administered justice in the land. In addition, the king funded his expedition with money from the royal treasury. Artaxerxes declared that the money was to be used to purchase animals to be sacrificed. So even King Artaxerxes, who was not an Israelite, he wanted the Israelites to be able to go back and rebuild the temple and rebuild their city and be obedient to God. So God was working even in kings' hearts that were not Israelites. He was even working in them to rebuild Jerusalem and to make sure his people returned. As the group was assembling to return to Judah, Ezra noticed that there were no Levites among them. The Levites were the tribe that had been given the responsibility of serving in the temple of the Lord. Ezra sent messengers to Levites still in Babylon, requesting that they join the group returning to their homeland. Therefore, a group of Levites joined Ezra's group. So Ezra, he recognized that the Levites had a special job. They had a special responsibility in serving in the Lord's temple. And when he realized there weren't any, he didn't change the rules. He didn't say, well, we don't have any Levites, so we're just going to have someone else do their job. No, he sent for them. He wanted to be obedient to God's laws and sent for Levites to return to Jerusalem as well. Ezra had been ashamed to request soldiers from the king to protect the Israelites on their journey. Artaxerxes had heard the Israelites' great boasts of the Lord's protection of his people. So the Israelites fasted and prayed before they left. Several thousand people returned with Ezra, bringing many of the original temple vessels with them. So they trusted in God. They remembered his protection of them and decided to go ahead and return. They prayed and fasted. They were even able to bring some of the original temple vessels that had been stolen. They were even able to bring those back to Jerusalem. So God was bringing his people back just like he had promised he would. God always keeps his promises. He said he was going to allow them to come back, and he did. They had their punishment, and now he was bringing them back to their home and allowing them to rebuild. Now, it would never be the same. The temple was nothing compared to Solomon's temple. As we remember, even some of the elders, once the temple foundation had been laid, they were sad because they knew it was nothing compared to what Solomon had built. And that's one of the consequences of their disobedience. It was never going to be the same as it was before, but God still allowed them to return out of exile, come back to their home, rebuild their city, rebuild the temple, and begin worshiping him again in the proper way that he had originally planned. So go ahead and do your worksheet using the card that you can find, the picture of the card in Schoology. Do the worksheet. Be sure you turn it in the worksheet section. Please pay attention to the questions, your spelling, and proper grammar and sentence structure, okay?